What's up, guys? Today I'm going to change the differential fluid, or the rear differential fluid, in my 2017 Ram 1500 right here. Doesn't have a lot of miles on it, just under 20,000, but after the break-in process, which happens in the first couple thousand miles, I just figured it's a good idea to change the fluid out, get all those break-in debris, any metal that's suspended in the oil, get that out and put fresh stuff in. So this is a limited slip vehicle, so it's got a limited slip rear axle. And you can either buy the synthetic gear lube with the LS or the limited slip additive in there already, or you can use the additive from Mopar. Pretty straightforward. This truck takes 75W140, but you should check your owner's manual because not every truck is the same. And sometimes the front axle will be different from the rear axle if you have a 4x4. So now in theory, I don't need this at all because this stuff already has the friction modifier or the limited slip additive in there, but I bought it just in case I experience any clutch chatter. The clutches on this differential, I believe, are not replaceable, so I want to be extra careful. I don't want to have to replace the whole carrier. Now this truck has a 9¼ inch rear axle, which is pretty common for all the half-ton trucks, but I believe, don't quote me on the year, but they switched to a ZF rear axle, which is slightly different than the traditional Chrysler 9¼ so it's a ZF 9¼ One of the nice things about the ZF 9¼ is you don't have to pull the differential cover to change the fluid. Changing the fluid is just a simple matter of pulling a drain plug and then pumping it up with fresh fluid. So what I did is I took the truck for a drive just to kind of circulate everything in there. If there's anything that's any metal or whatever that's in there, I got it, should be suspended in the oil, so the oils should be kind of warm now too. So now is the best time to change it. Alright, so again, this is a 2017. This is the ZF 9¼ inch rear axle. Fill plug is right here. Although I could have sworn on my 2015 it had a fill plug on the side, but maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. And it's got a drain plug right here. That's a 14mm Allen key. So you can pick one of these up on Amazon. They're a couple bucks. Otherwise, you got to pull the cover, and that gets messy. And this is a lot easier. So here, all you need is a 14mm socket. Take that out. Old stuff drains out. You pop this little cover off with a screwdriver, this little rubber thing, and you pump the new stuff in. So let's get to it. I'm going to take this off first, just to make sure we can take this off and it's not going to break or whatever, because we don't want to drain all the old stuff out if we can't get new stuff in. Got the fill plug out. Truck's on an incline, so it's going to leak a little bit. So we'll let that do what it's going to do for a minute. Then we'll pull the drain plug out the side. Okay, so I'm just going to loosen that drain plug. It's on there nice and tight. But it's coming. Windy today, making a mess. This could get interesting. Anyway, won't bore you guys with this slow drippage. So when this stops dripping, I'm gonna yank that drain plug out. Alright, slow down. I'm gonna take this plug out. And it's going to come out much faster and be much stinkier. There we go. Not too sorry looking. Heck of a lot easier than pulling the cover though. A lot less messy. Alright, we'll let that drain for a minute. Now you may have noticed that the spare tire might have been a little bit in the way of the fill plug. So you might be wondering, all right, how do you get new fluid in there? So if the fill plug is not very accessible, because normally what you're supposed to do, you're just supposed to cut the top off this bottle and use it like a squeeze bottle. So this cap comes off and, well, usually comes off. Let's see. There we go. Just cut that tip with a razor blade and squeeze it in like a squeeze bottle. But if that can't work for whatever reason, they make these little hand pumps. something like that. So that goes in and you just pump it like a soap dispenser. A little tedious, but it's always an option. I'm going to try to avoid doing that because that's a hassle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I'm going to see if I can pour the contents of this bottle in here, or part of it, and then we'll just put it in until can't fit any more fluid in there until it starts to trickle out the fill plug. This is that clearance I was referring to. If the spare tire was lower, we wouldn't be able to get the bottle in there, but plenty of room, so we don't need that hand pump. So let's see. You can probably get the contents of that friction modifier in there now. And again, you probably don't have to use both friction modifiers, but belt and suspenders, and I couldn't find this stuff without the friction modifier, so we'll just use it. Won't hurt anything. Let's put that drain plug back in. Alright, so I'm going to add the friction modifier to the gear oil, the first bottle. And again, if you don't have a limited slip, you do not need to do this. See if it all fits. Let's put about half in and we'll squeeze more in later. And if you buy gear oil with friction modifier already built in, you may not need to do that at all. Belt and suspenders, like I said. So now we just dump the bottle in like that. And we just give her a squeeze. I believe this axle holds just under 3 quarts. Let's put the rest of that friction modifier in. Okay, that bottle's done. Cap back on there. Let's keep on squeezing. And you fill until fluid runs out. Keep in mind that the same fluid lubricates the bearings inside the axle and the bearings at the end of each wheel. There's actually a roller bearing down on that side in the axle tube, and on that side too. So this fluid that we're pumping in here actually sits inside the axle tube as well. So it's pretty important you get the level correct, because without that, you're gonna have a bad time. Whoops, excuse me. Where'd that come from? What did I eat? Whoops. Guess it's time for another bottle. Let's switcheroo. Now you probably noticed that the first bottle has a little bit of stuff in there, and couldn't get it all out because of the angle. So simply just pour it into the new bottle. Make sure you don't overfill it though. You don't want it, this stuff stinks. So just put as much as you can in there. Just pour it in. This way you use every last drop. That's about all I can fit in there right now. Get the rest in a minute. So this is bottle number 2 with the remnants of bottle number 1. I think I got some gear oil on the lens. Sorry guys. Let's pour the last couple drops of bottle number 1 in here. Could fit a lot more. Anyway, I won't spare you this boring process of just squeezing stuff in. I'll show you at the end where fluid starts to run out. You just gotta button it up. To be continued. All right, so we got the 3rd bottle in. Notice it's just starting to leak out. So again, because I'm on a slight incline here, I'm gonna overfill it slightly. Because if you recall, as soon as I took that fill plug off, fluid started leaking out. So I'm gonna kind of get it to that point. Then we're just gonna shove the fill plug back in and call it a day. Okay, that's it. Pretty easy job, as you can see. There wasn't much to this. So we got the fill plug back in. We overfilled it ever so slightly because we're on a tiny incline. Take it for a test drive, but really that's the end of it. Now just a matter of cleaning it up and enjoying your truck. Well, hopefully this helps you, and please subscribe if you thought this was helpful.